All right, everybody. I will return your exam on Monday, but I will update the grades as soon as I finish it. I don't know when I'll be able to finish it, but I'll find time sometime before Monday. I'll have to. Let's see here. We'll be working on Chapter 10 today and Monday. So the Chapter 10 Mastering Chemistry assignment will be due on Tuesday night next week. It will not be long, so shouldn't be a problem. We did presentations in lab this morning. We will do other presentations in lab on Monday. The final lab report will be due a week from today at 1:30. Okay? So I have the drop boxes open for those things. You will have to turn in the PowerPoint file from your presentation too as well. So I think I got all three of them from this morning, but all right, so let's talk about the final exam. I have a sheet in handouts now. I think I do. If not, I will activate it right now. That you should all look through because it has information about the final exam that we'll be taking here. Content, handouts, here we go. Let's post that. Okay, so final exam study guide. And so take some time, take a look through this. We do the American Chemical Society standardized first term general chemistry exam. So it is all multiple choice. It has 70 questions that you'll be doing in 110 minutes, so almost 2 hours. Okay? So if you think about that, that means you cannot spend more than a minute or so, maybe like a minute and a half or so on a question. The way you can really have a problem on this exam is if you get bogged down on something. Okay? So work through, you get to a problem. If it's there immediately, great. Take your sort of first impression. If you have to work at it a little bit, limit yourself to a minute or so. Okay? And if you're not getting it, move on. And then after you've gotten through the ones that you can get through quickly, you can go back to work on those ones that you need more time on. Okay? But do not run out of time on this exam. Also, because it's a standardized exam, 110 minutes is it. It's like literally pencils down. Otherwise, the scores aren't. I can't standardize them. Okay? So that is also where we do not allow programmable calculators. Again, that's part of it being standardized. Okay? So I have a limited number of non-programmable calculators, but to be safe, if I were you, if you don't have a non-programmable calculator, go to Walgreens, buy a $10 non-programmable scientific calculator, and use that. Make sure to practice it so you know how to use it. But there's a list of things you are expected to know, so go through that. There are a list of these equations which you are expected to know, but none of these are terribly difficult. If you do not yet know that PV equals nRT, then we might have some more serious problems. But so read through that. This gives you a little idea of how the scoring works. For you to get a 90% on the exam, right, the score that essentially goes into our course, you can get as low as 53 out of 70 correct. So it's weighted. Let's see here. Where's the 50th percentile? Right here. 50th percentile is 42 out of 70. And if you know how percentiles work, that's your score compared to the score of all the students across the country that take this same exam. Okay? So that tends to work out pretty well for our students because you're essentially in competition with the students at the big universities and the 500 student lectures that tend to have a little lower scores than we do. So that tends to be good for you guys. Our scores tend to be a little bit higher than what our, the averages on these tend to be just a little bit, a couple points or so higher than what the typical averages of our unit exams are. But that doesn't mean that you can skip studying for it by any means at all. If I were you, I would go through the study guides that I put up for exams 1, 2, and 3. Okay? I would go through your actual exams to find major places where you were having big troubles. Okay? Because It's all that's all the same kind of material. Obviously, on a multiple choice exam with 70 questions, there are not going to be big, long calculations. Okay? You're not going to do a combustion analysis from beginning to end, for instance. But you could very well be asked questions about that require you to have that knowledge. So. Is that all I have on this page? Yes.
So what
Go ahead.
kind of information will we be given besides the test? Will we have a periodic table?
Yep, there's a periodic table. There's any constants that you need, and that's about it.
So there's not going to be a ton of math stuff?
No. There will be a lower emphasis on calculation on this. You had a pretty good emphasis on calculation on our previous exams, and that's important. There will be some calculation that you will have to do, but it will be, just by necessity, it being a 70-question exam in 120 minutes. There's, it's a little bit limited, but so definitely go back and study the concepts. If there were major calculations that we did, study the concepts of those calculations. Okay? Because maybe instead of a big, long calculation, you'll be asked about why you do that calculation or what the purpose is or something like that. So, yeah, Bailey.
Points will the final exam be worth, for a grade?
Our unit exams were 100 points, right? The final exam is 150 points. So it's worth its own 150 points no matter what. Now, assuming you do better on this than at least one of your previous exams, the percent that you get on this will replace that exam's score as well. Okay, in addition to the points that it itself is worth. Okay? So if you got 60% on all three of our exams and you get 70% on the final exam, one of those exams will also become 70%, for instance. But if you get 50% on the final exam, then you still keep those 60s and you get the 50% on the final exam.
So if our, how you dropped our lowest mastering test, if that would bring our score up, is there a way for us to get that entered back in?
No. That's in the syllabus that the one lowest mastering chemistry assignment and the one lowest lab grade are dropped. All right, other questions? I have the time on here, 1:30 to 3:30. That goes a little bit past our normal class time, but at least have the room reserved. But if you have something that you can't get out of at 3 o'clock, let me know and I'll let you start early or something like that. Okay? But you do need 2 full hours. You'll need 120 minutes for the exam, and we'll need 5 minutes on either side of that to be setting up and tearing down. Okay. Other questions?
There'll be chapter 10 stuff in here.
Yep. There will be stuff from chapter 10 on the final exam. It will not be emphasized any more or less than any of the other chapters. It's just like any other chapter on the final exam. Okay. Other questions? Yes.
Do you know if there's any practices that you can take online since it's a standardized?
You might be able to find something. I don't know, do some searching.
Just like the Minnesota standardized one? International?
Yeah, the American Chemical Society, ACS. Yeah. See if you can, and if you find something, post it on the discussions.